What's happening? This is Derek with Real Falcon Gaming, and this is going to be a tutorial on working with water and how water works in the game. So this was part of a showcase I did on a full automated farm with collection, and this is going to encompass parts of that with the collection system and then just generally working with water. This is probably a video not for advanced people but more for beginners. There's going to be a lot of real basic stuff in this, but I'm just going to try to squeeze all of the things with working with water, little tricks here and there, into one video. So if we come down here, we can see this collection system here. All of these tie into one collection deal right here that takes it all to one location. So you get everything all going to one area in the farm down here, where you collect everything. But more so, this is going to just I'm going to try to encompass a lot of aspects with working with water. So let's start out by, I'll turn this on and off real quick here. One of the things with water is it doesn't affect tilled soil. So as this water dissipates, you can see, and we kind of went over this in my video. It was a tutorial I did on building the wheat farm and netherwort farm. But let's go outside and get started. Okay, so first off is an infinite water source. So if you cut out 4 blocks and place one in each corner like that, then you've created an infinite water source. So you can keep pulling pails of water out of it, and you don't have to travel to a water source. You can move it to your location. As long as you don't go buck nasty around it like that, it will last infinitely. This also works if you cut a line of 3 like this and fill it till it's uniform, and then pull only from the center. Once you pull from an end, then it doesn't refill itself, and you can just drain it. So this also works if this is longer. So if you lengthen this out like this, as long as you don't pull from it all in a line like that, it will refill itself. So we'll fill it back in. So as long as you take pails from it and let it fill itself back in, then you have an infinite water source. But like the other one, you just can't pull from the ends. Alright. Next up is how to block water and what to use to block water. As you can see, we're in a room that is underneath water, and I'm blocking this water with these different objects. So I've got trapdoors, and I've got fence gates, and ladders, and signs. Signs is usually what I always use to block water, and then doors. And how this works is all of these objects actually take up an entire block worth of space. So this entire space is covered by the sign and so on, except for the door takes up 2. These fence posts, actually you can see a pocket of air around them. And what this is good for, like glass panes, fencing, and iron bars, it creates a pocket of air that you can actually breathe. So if you're building something underwater, you can lay these in there. What I usually use though is doors. So I've got 2 doors over here, both kinds, iron and wood. And this is what I would usually use if I'm building like a house underneath like an ocean in survival, so that I can breathe. And the only thing I forgot to put in is pressure plates can be used to block water and stop water canals. So if I put this pressure plate, you can see it actually takes up an entire block's worth of space and creates a pocket of air, but you can also use it to block streams. Okay, so speaking of streams, what we're going to do now is work on these canals. So water travels for 8 blocks. So we've got 8 blocks here and it ends. If you cut this down right here and go another 8 blocks, you can throw another pail in. It'll go for 8 blocks, and so on and so on. And I'll carve this out real quick. Place another pail, and then I'll just go down one more layer here. like so. We'll throw another pail of water in. So you need to cut these out, like so. And now your objects or your mobs will actually move all the way to the end. So if I grab some glowstone here, just as an example, I'll throw some in on this end here, and they'll make their way all the way down to the end. So when they hit the end here, they'll drop down into that stream, and so on and so on. What I did in the automated farm is a little bit different. And so what I did was I used a trick because I was in creative mode, and you can grab ice blocks. What I did was I grabbed some ice here and a sign, and where the water ends, it dug down. So after that, place a block of ice and then a sign above it, and then place a pail of water next to that. And what that does is if we throw some glowstone in here, like so, it's going to make its way all the way to the end of this canal here, and then it's going to slide across the ice into that canal there and keep going. And you could run this forever. You just on and on and on. You could run it all the way around the map. So as you can see, these made it all the way down here to the end. So we'll grab those, and those have made it all the way to the end. So let's grab these, and you can keep on doing this over and over again and keep stretching that. The downfall is, of course, you can't really do it in survival mode, but this first canal here, if you don't want to keep placing pails, with one pail you can do all of that. So if I cut down at the end here, it's going to keep going for another 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. If I cut that down right there, it's going to go down 8 blocks and drop off the end. And as you can see, water travels down infinitely far. It will keep going no matter how high it is till it hits something. Goes down to the end here. Now if I cut this block off, because the ground is completely smooth, when water hits the ground, it creates a diagonal 8 by 8 square. So 8 this way, 8 that way. And now if I block this off and let all this water dissipate and go away, to stop water from doing that, all you need to do is cut down 1 block. It just kind of shows that, like, in the game, it doesn't work like water would in real life. Okay, so let's talk about moving mobs with water. So if I let go of the controls, this current is going to carry me down to the end. But with a mob, you get them jumping and trying to resist, but ultimately it's going to carry them down to the end. The thing that doesn't work is this second one that I put in with ice. What's going to ultimately happen is it'll work some of the times, but when they're jumping around, they're going to end up just standing on this ice, and they might eventually get kind of sucked in, but it's not going to be as reliable as this one right here. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this unsuspecting pig and we're going to make him go upstream and fall into this holding pen. And we're going to do a trick which is making water flow up instead of down. And this works with mobs, so you'll need half slabs and signs for this, or something to block the water like we talked about earlier. So I'm going to place a sign there so it doesn't backflow into here, and then I'll place my pail of water, and right before this goes up I'm going to place a slab. And what this does is it makes kind of a staircase, so I can actually walk up that. Now what we're going to do is grab our sign and place it just to the right, up 1 block like so, and place a pail of water next to it. And as you can see, that water is flowing up into that stream. And so now if I let go of the controls, it's actually going to shove me up into that canal. So we're going to do that one more time right here. So we'll place our half slab, then place our sign here, then a pail of water there, and it ends right there, and we'll drop down in there. Now I'm just going to fill this front in with glass so he doesn't jump out of it as he's going. And just do this real quick. Like so. And what I'm going to do now is, going to cut this fence out, and then I'm actually going to use water to shove him over there. And so he'll fight like so, but eventually the water will take him. Now we can block that up, and I'm just going to end this flow here. And what I'll actually do is I'm just going to use wheat to kind of lure him in there. So I'll come in here and grab some wheat, and we'll just lure him with wheat. Come on, buddy. That's right. Alright. Now you can see he's going to fight this, but ultimately it's going to drag him in there. Just like that. So as he's going along, it's going to shove him upstream, and you can actually move mobs, good or bad mobs, around by doing this. It's going to take him down and drop him down into her holding pen, and there he is. Okay, so for this next part, what I want to do is show you how to properly fill in a void with water. And so one of my buddies that's new to the game has built an unimaginably large hole in the ground, like an ocean-sized hole, in survival mode, and he wants to build something in it and then fill it all in with water. So for this, let's imagine that there's a house at the bottom of this hole right here, and what he thought he could do is basically just come in here and start throwing an endless amount of pails in here to fill in like an ocean in his world. And this is sort of going to work because it's so small, but you can't place water on top of water. So you're going to end up with a completely ununiform, it's going to look a lot worse than this. There's going to be a lot of areas that he just can't get any height with water. So to properly do this, what you need to do, no matter how big it is create your ring and then create a temporary layer, which I'll do out of glass, that's one block down, and then fill all of this in with water until it's uniform, like so, and then you just break out your temporary layer, and now this entire hole is filled with water, just like so. And as you can see, that's how I built this monstrosity over here. Okay, so last thing is to get water into the Nether. You have to be in creative mode, and basically what you want to do is use blocks of ice. And so I've got some laid out and they're already melted, but they stand like this weird. They don't flow all over the place. So you have to do a block update, and placing a diagonal block next to it's not going to work. It has to be directly next to it. So as soon as I place a block here, that updates it, and then it starts flowing all over the place. And so this would be good if you want to make like a mob trap in here. So like with zombie pigmen to get gold nuggets, or blaze rods or whatever, you can do this, create this in creative mode, and then go back into survival if that's how you want to roll. By block update, obviously that's placing a block, taking a block, stepping on this pressure plate. So yeah, that's how it's done. If you like the video, make sure to click the like button below. Write in a comment if you have any questions or comments for me, and make sure to subscribe if you would like to see more. And I will catch you next time. Peace.